Hey, friends, welcome back to 4 Minute Church. As I've said, this is the most exciting time of my day, so thank you for allowing me to share. Now, before I get started on this one, it's kind of a touchy subject. I wish I had a slick talking lawyer that could say something like the following. The following presentation reflects the opinions of the broadcaster and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the United Methodist Church or the members thereof. Now, what I'm saying is, what I'm going to give you is my opinion, and take that for what it's worth. This subject has come up multiple times in the last few weeks, as recently as today. But the question concerns divorce. Now, in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says, "It is said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that anyone who divorces his wife, except on the ground of infidelity, causes her to commit adultery, and whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery." You know what? That sounds pretty plain, doesn't it? There are churches that will say that divorced people cannot partake of communion, teach Sunday school, things like that. Let me tell you what I think. And again, what I think. What does it take to be saved? What is our salvation dependent on? Well, we're told pretty plainly that all who believed will be saved. If you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, ye shall be saved. For it's by grace we've been saved through faith, not of works. So our Protestant belief is that we are saved through faith and faith alone. So when Jesus is given these commands in the Sermon on the Mount, he's talking to his followers, and he's telling them not how to achieve salvation, but how we should conduct ourselves as Christians, as his followers, how we should conduct ourselves in life. And so Jesus is given this Sermon on the Mount. He's got a very short time to get across all the points that he wants to get across. And he uses this thing many times throughout the Sermon on the Mount. There's many instances, but this thing, what we call prophetic hyperbole. That means exaggerating to make a point. You moms, you're the best at this. If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. Don't. You didn't say it 1,000 times. You exaggerate some. But Jesus is trying to get this point across. And the reason is that in that time, men were casting off their wives for whatever reason they wanted. She burned supper, boom, she's gone. Go down and get a certificate of divorce. And Jesus looked around the landscape of the day and saw that it was much like today, where it was too easy to get a divorce. And he's telling them that marriage is a sacred institution, but it doesn't have time to get into all the little nuances and all that. Should a woman stay in an abusive relationship when her life or the life of her children is in danger? I don't believe so. I don't think Jesus would want that. But he doesn't have time in this short Sermon on the Mount to go through and say, except for unchastity or abuse or blah, blah, whatever. What he's saying is, I need you to take this seriously. You're making vows to God, and you need to take them seriously. And stop with this just casting off your wives. Now, if we believe we're saved through faith, that means that if we've done our best to make a marriage work and it doesn't work, and I'm not talking about because I don't like the way she looks anymore or I don't like the way that he's gotten fat and bald, I'm talking about substantial reasons. If that marriage falls apart, we go to God, we ask God's help, and if it just doesn't work or there's cases of abuse, we gotta leave. And if that happens, God is still with you. Remember, as I said, this is Jesus talking about how we should live. And what he's saying is, take your vows seriously. And we need to. But he's not condemning people to hell because they've been divorced. He's not saying you can't be my follower anymore. So let's look at what we really understand when we approach these situations, and that is, it's by grace we've been saved, not by works that any man may boast. Thanks be to God, I am saved by faith. I encourage you to embrace that. If you have questions or concerns, you know how to reach me in the comments or a direct message. Until next time, friends, may the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.